Hello and welcome to Somewhere in the Spectrum. I'm hoping it's going to be quiet, but there are airplanes going around, so it might not be. Today we are doing a book review. This was not a planned purchase. This was in a very little bookshop in the Peak District when I went on holiday, and they had a very impressive section of autistic books about autism, books written by autistic people, badges. It was very cool, actually. There's a lot of things to look at. And this one caught my eye as something a little bit different. The book, I believe, was funded from Kickstarter or something like that. And it is an anthology of lots of different comics. Each one is made by an autistic person about their experience, although some of it just covers who they are, some of it covers their different things that they're dealing with, some of it gives you some tips. There's literally everything you can imagine. So considering that a lot of autistic books can be heavy, and this is too, this has some really heavy stuff, but there's a lot of really good cheerful stuff too. And the fact that it's in this kind of comic book format is really, really different, but also because of that, it's a lot of people in a fairly small space. So whereas most of the time when we look at books written by autistics, it's one person for the whole book, and occasionally, like Spectrum Women, there were 17 authors for Spectrum Women. So I wanted to read you some of these, show you some of these. I've only just picked a handful of them that I'm going to show you. The book is a little bit expensive, perhaps because it was privately, excuse the seagulls, perhaps because it was like sort of a self-published book, but it is very good. I think it's well worth reading. And if you find that generally books about autism or by autistic writers are a bit heavy or difficult, or if you're just not really great or fun at the reading, then you might find that this is a different way for you to be able to access information about autism and what it's sort of like from the inside, and tips and things like that. As I said, each individual comic is written by a different person, so therefore you have a lot of different styles in there. It's a lot of people. At the back there is actually a list of all the contributors and their social media contacts, so if you really liked someone's stuff, you can go off and find them on social media, which I think is really, really great. So let me read through some of these. I love this first one. This person makes mood-based pigeon characters to explore how their brain works. I can't even with these characters. Look at those faces. Oh my God, they're so cute. I was officially diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder last year at 28 years old. I'm still learning what exactly that means for me. Through my therapy art, I've used my mood-based pigeon characters to explore how my brain works and how my symptoms manifest. Art has been my best coping mechanism, and I'm so glad I have it. I've never had much confidence in my words, and I still struggle sometimes, so I am happy that I have this way to express myself. It's helped me explore everything about my late diagnosis, both good and bad. They're so good. Sometimes I still have moments where I resent the time I lost not understanding myself. Yeah, all of these are really, really familiar to anybody who's late diagnosed. I shouldn't have had to struggle the way I did. There's your anger. That might never even have happened. Why didn't anyone see it? Why didn't I see it? Why did I have to slip through the cracks? These feelings are valid, and I no longer push them away when they visit, and it's getting easier to bring myself back down to the ground. If I didn't have these complicated emotions and symptoms to understand, I might never have started working on Crumbs or have met the amazing people I know. I might not be as empathetic as I am, and honestly, I'm at a point in my life where I'm becoming happier. Sometimes you have to make the best of where you're at. It might have been good to start earlier, but slowly I'm starting to believe it's just as good to start now. Love it. There's loads of really good ideas and information. There's several things about being in social environments, tips and tricks. This one I really liked is your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise. So it's got the first one, like whenever you're really, really stressed out, take a deep breath. Look for 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. So that's just really helping your brain calm down and be in your body and chill for a bit. So it can be a really great way if you're in, heading towards meltdown or something like that. Having things like this can be really good. So I would definitely, I think those are really good ideas. So this is about conversation. So she's explaining that obviously conversation is very difficult for us, and so she has a script, and what she's done is written down the script for us to see. It's like a flow chart that your brain can work through to know what happens next. Who are you talking to? Stranger, acquaintance, friend? Are you ever going to see them again? So then it helps you figure out, like, where do you have to worry? Is there worth anxiety? What kind of things can you talk about? All that kind of thing. So that's really helpful. There's a few of those in the book. Simple things in my autistic life that just make sense. I like this one. There's so many things that we're told are childish or silly or only certain people do or whatever, and so we don't do them because we think it's not appropriate, and we follow the rules, right? We always follow the rules, so we think it's not appropriate to do, and actually it can be really helpful for us. And I think very often we need to reorganize what is appropriate and not, and kind of throw away the rule book, say, okay, yes, I get that those rules have been explained to me. These are my own version of these rules, because I think very often it's not actually really helpful for us to have all these rules and things. So my blanket hoard that keeps getting bigger, having plush toys even though I have 50. This one I really love. There are so many autistic people that I've met who feel really embarrassed about their toys. And I think this is one of those that, people say, oh, toys are childish. After you reach a certain age, you should put them away. You should throw them away. You shouldn't have them anymore. I recently put my teddy from when I was a little baby into a Perspex box, like framed him basically, because he's gonna fall apart. He can no longer be living the free life because he's going to fall apart, but also he's very important for my whole youth, so I don't want him to just sit as if he's been thrown away somewhere, because he's still important. And I think that's kind of honoring that part of my life. There are some teddies that I no longer have that I wish I could have back, and I think allowing yourself to have the teddies. You're an adult, it's your money, you get to use it however you want to use it. Don't get too excited with that. But it's your money, if your money isn't for buying things that make you happy and for making your life better, what's the point? Like, of course we have to pay rent, we have to buy food, there are things we have no choice, we have to buy. But if you have extra money and there are things that you want to have that are going to make you happy, they're impulse buys. Okay, this was an impulse buy. That doesn't really count. It's one of those within reason situations, right? I think we've got to allow ourselves to have the things that make us happy. And part of that, I think, is about making our kid selves happy too, whether it's 15-year-old, 11-year-old, 10-year-old, 5-year-old. If you weren't allowed things when you were younger, or you had to throw things away, or you lost things and you can replace them, do that. The overly organized collection of Pokémon cards and tins. Never underestimate how happy it could make an autistic person to organize their favorite things. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I have all my Terry Pratchett books in order along my shelf, and it is my favorite bookshelf. That one soundtrack I always listen to for 5 years non-stop. There's this Unwinds CD that I got. I've now bought it 3 times, and it's the same second CD that gets lost every time. It's really annoying. I lost it the first time. I didn't know where it had gone. I managed to find it again. The second time I was in a car crash, and it was in the CD player when I had the car crash, and I didn't know to take it out, obviously, car crash. And then the last time I found it online, so I have it again now. I've listened to it hundreds and hundreds of times, but I like the way I like it. I like it. Favorite top. If you have 15 of the same top, that's perfectly normal for an autistic person. Cat gallery. She has a cat. I don't have a cat. But if you have a pet, have pictures of them. It's good. Minecraft. I'm not a game person, but if you play Minecraft, go for it. So these are all things that now make perfectly good sense in her autistic lifestyle. And I think it's a good idea to make a list like that of your own and get okay with it. I wanted to read a couple of things that are from autistic people from the global majority, because I think that's a really important demographic that is often missed, which we'll come to in the last one. So this is talking a bit about the kind of dichotomy of being autistic. I love sunshine, I love exploring and people watching, I love socializing, I love leading groups at work. But when I'm burnt out, those things aren't so fun. The sun is too bright, the crowds are too loud, people are hard to read, work too uncompromising. I'm still the same person, I just need to recharge for a day, a week, a month. I worry people won't get it, so I hide away until I'm ready to return, as if nothing had happened. Clothing language. I wanted to do this one because it's relevant for next week's episode. I never spoke the language of clothes. I don't understand what makes sense together and often send the wrong message. As I've aged, I've gotten better at blending in, but I also forgot how to express myself and my sensory needs. I like this one, all the different styles together in the same picture. But this year, things changed. Working from home, I wear what I want. Finally, I can hear what my clothes are saying. Be free, be safe, be at peace. We're going to talk about clothes next week. I like that one. There are some really dark ones in here, and I'm purposefully not reading those because it's a bit difficult to give you a warning beforehand. I don't want you to feel like you have to skip things in the video. So I'm just giving you a snippet. Beware if you buy it. There are some dark ones, not that many though, and I think they are important because they do demonstrate a bigger spectrum of what it means to be autistic, because a lot of us struggle with depression and dark thoughts. So I think it's important to include those in here. Okay, last one. Growing up, it never occurred to me that I could be autistic. I never saw autistic people that looked like me, and research on autism didn't focus on people like me, but on white boys. To this day, researchers are debating whether to consider race when studying autism. Is that really a debate? That's dumb. You're autistic, not you, but we both are. It's imperative that we understand how race impacts autism, from how our symptoms manifest to our diagnosis and acceptance in the autism community. As a Black woman, I've had to code switch my whole life, changing myself to be acceptable to white friends, teachers, and colleagues. As a child of West Indian parents, respecting my elders and following instructions was valued above all else. As a result, I internalize and repress a lot of my autistic traits. Whether we are diagnosed early or not, the adultification of Black children affects our education. 45% of permanently excluded children in the UK have special education needs and disabilities. In the 1960s and 70s, Black children were funneled out of mainstream education into educationally subnormal. Once we enter the school to prison pipeline, it is hard to escape. If you are in the autistic community, we still experience the effects of racism. Our voices are drowned out, our criticism ignored, and our labor stolen. There's so much joy in the souls of Black people, but we need our voices to be amplified and anti-racism embedded into all autism advocacy. Okay, so what I'll do is put a link to this in the description, and I will also go through and put the links to each of the people that I read their thing to their social media channels as well, so you can find the individual artists if you wish to do that. There are so many more individual artists. As I said at the beginning, this is quite an unusual book. I've never seen anything like it for us. I think this works really, really well for us because it's a way of getting across emotions and things in a different format. I think this was a really good buy. I'm really glad I got it. I like the fact that it has so many voices in it for such a small book. It's 2 or 3 pages for each one, and it gives you a lot of information in a really short space of time. If you are a family member of somebody with autism, I think this would be a really good book for them, but it would also be a very good book for you, because I think in a very short space of time, you can get a much wider experience of the variety of autism for us. You know, so many people say, you know, when you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person, which is very true. But I think it's difficult to get your head around how we could all be so different. And I think because this book has art in it, and you can see that each person's art is so different, and you're having the voice of the person as well and their story, then I think it's much easier to grasp that concept, because the average person isn't meeting a lot of autistic people. Let's be fair, you know, the average person is not coming across that many autistic people. So if you do have autistic people in your lives, I think this is a great way to quite quickly start to get your head around the challenges that we're dealing with and the difference that we're facing as well between each other and how our brains work. I hope you consider getting it. It's very good, and I will see you next time. Bye.